So welcome, ladies. Good to see you. I am going to be working a bit with meditation for back pain. But before we get into that, I don't want to forget at the very end to make this announcement. So I'm going to do it now. I have it pulled up on my screen. The next class is going to be on Thursday, the 14th at 6:30. And that will be with Sylvia, and she'll be doing yoga for digestion. So that should be a good one too. Yoga is so good for everything. I've actually dealt with back pain for half my life now. The story doesn't matter, but I was in my 20s when I first experienced like pretty intense back pain. And I've gone through a ton of different therapies and ways of working with it. And I have recently started working, well, recently, like maybe the last 10 years, working with someone who specializes in pain management, who you might have done some classes with as well, Amber Kyliak. She's got some videos in the library. And she taught me a lot about how our mindset has a lot to do with our pain. And so we're going to work in our meditation today with some belief systems that we have around our pain. So we'll do a little bit of movement to release some tension in our back. And then I'll guide you through a little bit of Yoga Nidra, which is a guided meditation that we do. We'll focus more specifically around the rotation, which helps to relax and release the body. And then we're going to move into a very important part of it where we do a pairing of opposites. And so this is where we start to create new neural connections within the brain and a new way of relating to things. So I'm going to start with something very simple, like feeling heavy and then feeling light. And then I would like for us to work with the word pain. And so we'll go into pain, and then we'll look at what the opposite of that is. I'm not going to tell you what that word is, but I want you to maybe kind of think right now to you, what is the opposite of pain? And when we get to that point, I want you to use that as the piece that you work with and sort of move into and feel and sense around. And then I would like to also work with a belief that we have around pain, whether that's, oh, I can't do this because otherwise I will be in pain. Or whenever I do that, pain comes. Or I will just have pain for the rest of my life. Or whatever a belief is that could potentially be hindering you in moving through these sensations. So that we can see in our mind's eye what life looks like with that belief system. And then we'll look at what life could look like if that wasn't our belief, if the opposite of that was our belief. What if I could move freely? I am moving freely. What would life look like without pain or without this belief? Would there be more potential, more opportunity? More ways that I could live that I want to live that are fulfilling for me. So sometimes it's a little bit easier to sort of think about those things before we get to that point, because it's like you are almost being put on the spot in the moment. And so it's nice to kind of let those things roll through your mind. So think about them while we're doing just a little bit of movement here. Any questions about that? We're good. Okay. So go ahead and we're going to start on all fours. So if you need a little bit of padding for your knees, you can grab a blanket. We will be lying down for a few minutes here. So if you want to have a pillow, something for under your legs, or a blanket, you can grab that as well. And then we can get started. Okay. So when you're at all fours, we're going to let the belly drop towards the ground, open across the chest and lift the sit bones. And then round the spine, release your head, tuck the tailbone under, push the floor away. And just move through this cat-cow, letting your breath start to slow down. And if you like linking your breath and the movement together, you can, but you certainly don't have to. I would say the most important thing is that you're consciously aware of your breath and allowing for it to begin to deepen and lengthen. When we are under a lot of stress, that is when we tend to perhaps have more sensation, experience more pain. And allowing for our breath to deepen and to connect to it can help us manage that stress. Now let's come to neutral. And we'll swing the right shoulder towards the right hip and the left shoulder towards the left hip. You could look back towards the leg as well when you do this. So making these little C curves with the spine. You can even, when you're going to the left, let your hips slide a little bit to the right. So you can go a little bit more deeply into that. And as you look to the right, let the hips slide more to the left. Movement is so good for us, right? A lot of times when we go into that pain state, we tend to prefer, well, maybe you don't, I did for many years, tend to prefer to not move to try to protect myself, but movement is so helpful. All right, now let's allow everything to circle. So we move through all 4 of those postures. Let your head circle with you. Really let the shoulders and the hips get involved. And then we'll reverse the direction. We'll come back to neutral and we'll send the hips back for child's pose. Let the arms reach forward. Let's take a few breaths here. If this is uncomfortable in your knees or in your feet, you can always let the hips come up higher and rest your head on the ground. If you're here, let your forehead come down to the floor, maybe stacking fists on top of each other, hands on top of each other. Let your breath move really fully into the low back, into the side ribs. And we'll come back to all 4s, stretch the arms forward again, rise up. Let your gaze lift, let your sit bones lift, and then press it back into child's pose, release your head down, and we'll move through these 2 postures a few times as well. You can play with this. Maybe you come through with a neutral spine, maybe you roll the spine as you come up. And then we're going to let the hips come back and walk the arms over to the right. Release the head. Breathe into the left side ribs. Walk the arms over to the left. Breathe into the right side body. And then we'll come back to center and lie down on our backs for a little twist before we come into the first part of the meditation. And I will say that if you're dealing with some pain right now and being seated for meditation does not feel good, you're welcome to stay in on the ground, lying down for the full thing if you'd like. We'll go ahead and let the knees bend. Reach the arms out to the sides. We'll shift our hips a little bit over to the left as we bring the knees to the right. Maybe take that right hand on top of the legs, or if you want to keep it open, you can. Head can tip away from the bent knees, tipping to the left. Your shoulders get heavy. Anytime before we do any type of meditation, it's important to try to release some of the tension from the body, because that can be very distracting, right? The mind might just keep going to whatever tension is there. And so this will help us to focus a little bit better on what it is that we want to be paying attention to while we're meditating, which I will guide you through so that there's something to focus on rather than just sitting in silence. We might find a couple minutes of that also at the very end. We're going to shift the hips now to center as the knees come up and bring them over to the right, and let the knees tip over to the left as your gaze tips over to the right. May your breath be full. Come on back to center. Bring your hips to center, bring your feet wider, and let your arms come into a bit of a cactus pose here. We're going to let the knees tip over to the right and reach through your left arm so that we get a nice long stretch through that left side of the body. Breathe right into that space where you feel the opening. And then we're going to move on over to the other side. Knees to center and shift the hips a bit to the right as the knees tip to the left, and that right arm will reach up so we get through that whole right side of the body. Nice breath here. And then let's take one more full breath. Find our way back to center, and we will begin lying down for Yoga Nidra. So something under your head, perhaps something over your body if you'd like. And maybe something under your knees. One of the things that I've been doing over the last 2 years is actually talking to my body when I move into pain, and let it know that I don't need the pain as a reminder of whatever it might be that is stressing me out or causing my pain to worsen. That I got this, I can take care of this on my own. I don't need the pain as a reminder. So I'm going to guide you a little bit into that as well. For this first part, for the Yoga Nidra, we will lie down, and then I'll give you the option to sit up if you want at the end. You're welcome to sit for Yoga Nidra if you like. It's just more traditionally done lying down without legs being crossed, so that we can do a rotation through the body. So get yourself comfortable, and I will guide you in just a moment here. Let your head lie softly on your pillow if you're using one. Let your arms rest a little bit away from your body. Press into those arms and lift the chest to draw your shoulder blades onto your back, and then release down. Let your legs part as your feet flop. And then let's take one big full breath in through the nose. When you think you've inhaled all the way, inhale a little bit more, and then let it all go. If you'd like, you can do that 1 or 2 more times. Allow for your eyes to settle into the sockets, for your lips to part and your teeth to part. And let the back of the tongue drop away from the roof of the mouth. And we'll begin this practice of Yoga Nidra by taking in the most distant sounds that you hear. Sounds outside of the room. Open up to receive them rather than trying to seek them out. That awareness can move into the space around you. And then drop into the space within, the sounds of the body, of the mind. We'll begin by moving through a rotation of consciousness where you'll place the mind's eye into the part of the body that you hear. And if you can't see it or feel it, then silently repeat it back to yourself. And today we are going to use a golden light, warm, healing light. You can place the light into the right hand and watch as it drips down to fill the thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, and fifth finger. It fills the palm of your hand, and it shines into the back of the hand. Golden light rises through the wrist as it fills your forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, and armpit. See the entire right hand and arm now glowing in this healing, warm, golden light. Let it slide down the side of your body and pool into the right hip. Let it fill the upper leg and shine into the knee, down through the lower leg and your ankle. This golden light washes over your heel as it begins to swirl through the sole of the foot. And it wraps around the top of the foot, dripping into the big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. See the entire right leg and foot now bathed in this light, healing light, warm and golden. Place your awareness into the left hand, and now the light begins to drip into the left thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, and fifth finger. It fills the palm of your hand. It shines into the back of your hand as it rises through the wrist, through the forearm. The elbow glows in gold. It rises into the upper arm, your shoulder and armpit. And the entire left hand and arm now are bathing in this warm, healing golden light. It flows down the side of your body, pooling into the left hip. Begins to fill the entire upper leg. Your knee shines. Lower leg shines. It glows through the ankle as it begins to wash over your heel and swirl into the sole of the foot. It wraps around the top of your foot. And then this golden light drips to fill the big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. And the entire left leg and foot now are bathing in this warm and healing golden light. Let your awareness travel into the back of your head and watch as this light flows down the back of your neck and spreads across your right shoulder blade, your left shoulder blade. And imagine that it's being poured into your spine, and each vertebra glows as it drips down. And the light shines out across the ribs, into the muscles, healing and warm, spreading from the upper back into the mid back, through your lower back. The sacrum glows gold, and it drips all the way down to the tailbone, into the buttocks. Your whole back body now is bathing in this healing light. This warm golden light. Bring your awareness to your crown and watch as the light begins to fill your forehead. It spreads across the right eyebrow and the left eyebrow. It fills the right eyelid and the left eyelid. The point between the brow glows as it rolls down the nose, shining into the right nostril and left nostril. Golden light spreads into the right cheek and the left cheek. It fills your right jaw and ear, and it fills your left jaw and ear. And this light spreads over the top lip, spilling into the mouth as the teeth glow, the tongue, inside the mouth. It spills out over your lower lip and fills your chin and rolls down the front of the neck. The whole head is glowing now. Your brain, everything in the head. Watch as the light spreads across your right collarbone and across your left collarbone. Let it fill the right chest and the left chest. And feel its warmth as it hits the top of your abdomen and shines all the way down to the bottom. And the whole torso now in the front is bathed in this golden light. Can you see the whole front body now glowing, warm? Can you see the whole back body glowing, healing, warm? And the whole body together, the whole body. Release that now as you begin to awaken a sensation of heaviness. Feel the whole body getting heavier and heavier with each exhale that you take. And allow for that heaviness to move into the bones, into the muscles. Heavy. Begin now to release that and awaken lightness. Light through the whole body. Every inhale, you get a little bit lighter until you're so light you could float right off of the ground. Light. Awaken lightness. Light. Now release that. We're going to awaken the sensation of pain now. When you feel pain, where does it land in your body? Are there certain areas where it's more intense and perhaps other areas where it's felt but in a different way? Let your awareness move into what you feel and sense when there's pain. And let it expand into what moves across the screen of your mind, what comes with that. Are there beliefs or thoughts? Now release that. Let that go completely and begin to awaken what the opposite of pain is for you. And notice how that feels in your body, where that lives, the different feelings and sensations and beliefs that are associated with that. Awaken pain's opposite. And allow yourself to fully feel that and experience that from within. And release that now. Begin to awaken a belief system you have around your pain. Notice what that is. And as you think about that, visualize what it looks like in your life. how that plays out. The other beliefs that come with it. What is open to you because of it, or what is restricted from you because of it. See how it has shifted your life and other beliefs. How it impacts your day to day. And now release that, fully release that. And call in an opposite belief to that. Allow for yourself to fully move into what its opposite would look like, whether you believe it's possible or not. In this moment, what is the opposite of that belief system? And as you move into that, see what that looks like, what that feels like. What becomes available to you. How other thoughts and beliefs may shift because of it. And then watch that expand. And if you'd like, you're welcome to come up to a seat, or you can stay where you are for the rest of this. See yourself still fully in that opposite belief system. And then watch as pain begins to move in. And begin to speak to that as though it were another person in the room with you. Letting it know that you acknowledge its existence, its need to send you a message, but that you've got this. And stand firmly in the opposite belief. And watch the pain dissolve. Watch the freedom and the strength of your body grow. The ease and the tension begin to shift. More ease moves in. More tension leaves. And there is a state of peace within the mind and within the body. We'll either sit or lie for just about 3 minutes. 4 minutes in silence. letting the eyes soften behind the lids. If you are seated, you are welcome to lie back down to release the spine. If you're lying, you can stay where you are. You're welcome to bend into your knees and place the feet onto the floor if that's comfortable for you. We're going to do a little breathing technique before we come out that helps calm the nervous system. You can block your right nostril, and we'll inhale and exhale out the left nostril. Start to stretch your breath a little bit longer and allow for that exhalation to grow even longer than the inhalation, but without any strain or force. Continue to do this. This is a fantastic practice to do anytime that you need some help with relaxation. We'll take 3 more rounds, inhale and exhale being 1 round.
We are doing with left. Are we doing again with left?
In and out the left. Mm-hmm. After you exhale next, you can release your hand and gently make your way on up to a seat. So the practice of Yoga Nidra that we did lying down helps us with pain as well. It releases endorphins. So when you practice that at least 3 days a week, you will likely start to notice that pain begins to be reduced. And longer yoga nidras that are the full practice, and that's when you really start to see more of those types of results. When you're doing the nidra for at least about 20 minutes, that's when the body really starts to go into that hypnagogic state between rest and being awake. And when you float within that space, that's when a lot of the healing happens. As we know, a lot of times when we're in pain, we don't sleep as well. So this also helps replace sleep, which is an incredibly powerful tool to have in your pocket when you're managing pain. And meditation is wonderful for the mind, right? So all of these things will impact the different sensations that we experience, and also how we view them, how we move through them, and help us change our perspective around them a little bit too. So thanks for joining me. Let me know if you have any questions about that. Good. All right. Well, thank you for being here. I hope that you find luck on this journey that you are on. There's definitely a lot more science that we understand around pain right now, and you are in the right place for it. So we'll see you soon. Okay. Thank you. Namaste.